The screen clicked black. The silence lasted exactly 1 second. Then, the room erupted. Your child hit the floor with a dull thud, limbs flailing, heels drumming a frantic rhythm against the hardwood. They threw their entire weight against the wall, a raw, kinetic display of pure agitation. You stood 3 feet away, knuckles white as you gripped the thin glass device. You did not move. You did not speak. The screaming escalated, sharp and jagged, filling every corner of the space until the air felt thick with it. You looked down. The eyes staring back were not the ones you knew. They were hollow, drained of light, fixed on the void where the digital glow had been just moments before. Your chest tightened. A singular, cold question anchored itself in your mind. Did I break this? Or is it something much darker? You watched them scramble, clawing at the carpet as if trying to pull the lost images back from the floorboards. The tantrum was not a request for attention. It was a withdrawal. You tightened your grip on the tablet, feeling the weight of it, and realized you were standing in the wreckage of your own house, watching a stranger inhabit the body of your child. You search for a reason in their face, but find only a blank digital ghost. It is a mistake to call this a tantrum. It is a chemical collapse. Your child is not acting out because of a flaw in their nature. They are suffering from a systemic brain starvation. Think of the tablet not as a toy, but as a mechanism engineered to exploit human biology. Every swipe, every chime, every notification is a calculated trigger. These systems are programmed to function exactly like slot machines, delivering rapid, unpredictable hits of dopamine that keep the brain locked in a state of constant, forced anticipation. Over time, the internal chemistry shifts. The brain builds a tolerance, demanding higher speeds and more intense input just to maintain a baseline of feeling normal. When you pull the screen away, you are not just removing a device, you are cutting off a supply line. Their brain hits a sudden hollow void. Because they have been trained to ignore the slow, quiet reality of the physical world, the silence now feels like nothingness. They are not choosing to be difficult. They are physically incapable of processing the stillness. You are holding the trigger to their addiction, and the wreckage at your feet is the proof of the design. The reset starts now. Day 1 is not a transition. It is a war against their own chemistry. For the first few hours, the agitation is relentless. Your child paces the perimeter of the room, eyes darting to every surface where the device might be hidden. They demand it with a voice that cracks, shifting from pleading to rage in a single breath. Do not give in. Every time they throw themselves against the floor, their brain is literally screaming for the dopamine hit it no longer receives. This is the sound of neural recalibration. It is painful to witness, but it is necessary. You stand your ground. When they crawl toward the drawer where you lock the tablet, you place your hand firmly against the wood. You are the barrier between their addiction and their recovery. They cry until their face is flushed and their voice grows hoarse, pacing back and forth like a caged animal. Every minute that passes is a minute their synapses are forced to adjust to a world without artificial stimulation. The house feels like it is vibrating with their panic. Yet you remain still. You are holding the line, watching the storm rage, knowing that this chaos is the first step toward the silence that must eventually return. By the 3rd day, the house stopped vibrating with panic. The sharp, jagged edges of the withdrawal began to soften. You walked into the living room and found them sitting on the floor, surrounded by a mess of wooden blocks. They were not staring at a wall or pacing the perimeter. They were stacking, balancing, and toppling. The frantic search for the digital fix had vanished, replaced by the rhythmic sound of wood hitting wood. Their eyes were finally tracking real objects instead of phantom pixels. You stood in the doorway, waiting for the demand, but it never came. They were occupied with gravity and friction, not code. By day 5, the transformation became impossible to ignore. They walked into the kitchen, stood by your side, and pointed at the window. "Why do the leaves change color?" they asked. A genuine question. A bridge built toward the world outside. The hollow look in their gaze had finally evaporated. Where a digital ghost once stood, a present, curious human being had returned. The fog had lifted. Their brain was no longer screaming for a rapid hit of stimulation. It was actually observing the reality right in front of them. By day 7, the change was absolute. You were no longer managing a withdrawal. You were witnessing a return. The frantic energy of the first week had settled into a calm, focused presence. You took them outside, away from the quiet of the house, and watched them reach for the low branch of an oak tree. Their fingers gripped the bark, muscles tense as they pulled themselves upward. They were interacting with the world, feeling the texture of the wood, calculating the height, and reacting to the wind. Later, you sat together on the porch with paper and pencils. They leaned over the page, sketching the lines of the leaves they had just seen. There was no fidgeting, no hollow searching for a phantom screen. The reward system had recalibrated, finding satisfaction in the effort of creation and the complexity of nature. You looked at them, really looked, and saw the person you thought had been lost to the digital fog. They were curious, grounded, and entirely present. You had held the line, endured the chaos, and emerged on the other side. The void was no longer empty. It was filled with the messy, vibrant, and real world. They were back, and they were finally free to explore it.